1, 2, 3, 4.
Good morning. So this is Sam and Owen. They're my two boys. Sam is 13 years old and Owen is 12. And they're playing upstairs on the 4th floor of the AGA when the Warhol exhibit was here. This is when they're behaving. This is an example of when they're playing, but I took these off of Sam's iPhone and off of Owen's Mac Mini. The Mini was backed up to my laptop, and Owen didn't know I was going to show this. And the video of Sam I found because his friend Nathan actually told me about it. So I want to just share with you a little about what they do when they play. Oops, excuse me. This is Sam on a hill. It's a drainage basin just north of the white mud.
Oh God, come on.
Nathan's standing on the cart in the back, filming. It's actually quite steep. It's a tobogganing hill. He said shit. This is Owen. They did not, so this was filmed with a Mac, the Mini on the Mini iPad on my little coffee table. And it's kind of like an art house film, actually. It's quite cool. So he didn't know that I was going to use this. Oops. Apologies. There we go.
I have Slender Man in my house.
That's Owen. It gets better. Yes, his hoodie's on backwards. Owen also said shit. I didn't know that they swore until I watched these, right? So let me replay the script there. There's a slender man in the house. Ah! Repeat. Oh shit! I put a hole in the wall. Shit! He was carrying Sam's Swiss Army knife. Not a good thing to play with when you're filming, right? So he thought he had put a hole in the wall. So the reason I'm showing you this is because kids play with abandon. They play freely. There's no rule book when they play, right? There's no script. But adults lose their sense of play as they mature and grow up, because there's a few reasons. I have rules, reason, and beliefs. When you mature and you start going to school, for instance, you start learning to put your hand up because you need to put your hand up before you speak. You start to line up in single file. You learn to use your inner voice when you're out in public, so you become a little bit more quiet. And even as adults, we learn codes of conduct. It's not polite to fart in an elevator, for instance, right? We suppress all that. Kids don't think about stuff like that. And we also start to apply reason. And we apply reason because we look for meaning in things. And then we also adopt beliefs. Beliefs come from learnings. And so all those factors, the rules, the reason, and beliefs become part of our personality. This is my personality. Does anybody recognize those letters? Myers-Briggs. So it's a personality type indicator. There's 8 different archetypes, I guess, that you can belong to. These are my letters. I'm an I, which means I'm more introverted. I'm more internal focused versus extroverted. I'm an N, which is intuitive. I use my imagination more than my senses. I'm a T. I'm a thinker rather than a feeler, so I don't dwell in my emotions as much. And I use judgment. I'm decisive versus perceiving. Now, I belong to 2% of the population, which is pretty interesting. 2% is pretty rare, and it's because we're pretty down the middle for a balance between our heart and our head, rational and emotional. And I also have the color split red and blue because from the colors test that you can also do, I also am down the middle. I am a red-blue. Red is driver, blue is a blue sky thinker. So I can come up with ideas, but I also can execute them. I think it's pretty neat that it describes my personality like that. But the other thing is it's a label. I accept this label and I use it in the way when I make judgments or even as I play. It's interesting that I am red too, because does anybody not see the number, the 2 numbers in here? Anybody else? I only see one hand. So we're red-green colorblind. I cannot see the 29 in there. Pretty interesting as a designer, eh? Here's another fellow that is also colorblind in a different way. This is my design hero, Tibor Kalman. This is an image of the Queen that he did and published in Colors magazine when he went over there to head the magazine in '84. I love this image because it makes you think. You do a double take. I set Tibor's name in up vertically because in school I learned that you're not supposed to do that. That's another belief. I held that belief for quite a long time, that you can't stack letters because it's just not legible. Isn't that interesting that you carry that throughout your life? Tibor's company, M&Co, also did products. Tibor was a designer that wasn't trained formally. He started off working in a bookstore and he just started doing the display windows. And he made really interesting displays. And so he decided, oh, I'm kind of creative. I'm going to just pursue this path. And so with his wife, they set up a company called M&Co. And she's an illustrator that illustrates for the New Yorker magazine. Very, very awesome, prolific, the couple. But Tibor passed away in '99. This is an umbrella that, when you open up, has clouds in it. It's a cloudy day umbrella. This is a clock. It's called a skew. I have this clock in my office. And I also have it at home. I have it there as a reminder to just have a little wit in things that I do and to play. And Tibor carried his sense of play throughout his career, even to the very end. So, you know, he died when he was 50, but he left behind this incredible body of work. So how can we all, can we bring play into getting to better work? I think we can, but I think we can do that by trying these 3 things. The first, actually, this is overall, it's we need to let go of what we know. We need to unlearn what we learned in order to actually play, because we're adults now, right? The first thing I'm suggesting is to ditch your rule book. We need to, the rule books contain our learnings, so set them aside. I'm not saying burn them, burn the rule book, put it under your mattress, right? Because it'll hold you up. Kids, when they play, or when they play, they fall, they get back up. Adults, it's not so easy, right? Because with adults, we have to try harder, and we hold on to, when we fall, it has meaning. We fail. We put a label on it. And some companies say, oh, you know, like failure is a learning point, and failure is awesome because you learn from it. We should fail fast. So that's good, but I think in our head we rationalize that, but in our hearts, I think it's kind of, we don't feel good about that. It doesn't motivate us. So it's harder for adults to recover. For example, when we have lessons, this structure is like when I A, then B happens. Like when I smile, she smiles back. When I try my best, I am rewarded. And when we repeat those lessons, they teach us something, and then we retain that, and we we replay that because it works for us. It kind of provides us a little bit of security. And that security is like a formula or a template. So in our work, for example, as a designer, I use formulas to get to point B quickly. If I need to get a brochure or a creative done in 2 days, I can kind of do that because I use my formulas. We all have quick formulas. We all have quick recipes. But when we rely on those, what happens? You get the same results, right? Repetition, when you use repetition, you get results that are consistent. But it also leads to status quo, right? Predictable outcomes. So what I'm suggesting is to get outside your comfort zone. So ignore the rules, take some risk. Change, for example, when you change jobs, when you move from a new location, let's say you relocate to a city, you get this feeling of excitement, a feeling of energy. And some change is organic, it's not instigated by you. Other change is instigated by you. And that feeling of excitement or energy, that's a good place to be in because that's a little bit of discomfort. And I try to be uncomfortable all the time because then I know I'm growing. Otherwise, you're just kind of stagnating, status quo. This is Owen. He's expanding my comfort zone. He's jumping from his mom's garage onto the shed. This was taken by Sam. I discovered this on his iPhone. Another thing, be unrealistic. Adults use reason. So kids don't differentiate between what's possible and impossible. Anything goes. Past, present, future, they all coexist. Kids play and they're on the moon. They can play with dinosaurs and then they go into the past. It doesn't matter. It's all real to them because they use their imagination. It's possible. But adults, it's not so easy, right? Because we apply meaning. We're rational beings. We use logic. And so impossible connections are no longer plausible to us because we're rational. I'm using the visual of glasses to represent the lens that we use through our lives. We apply a lens or a filter. And when we look at situations, when we analyze ideas, we filter them through our lens. Is that me? We filter them through our lens, our life lens. And for example, our work experience, what we've learned in school, what a mentor told us, how we've been treated, all those things provide the lens for how we view the world. And more experience doesn't mean that you know more things. More experience doesn't make your decisions better. More experience doesn't make a guaranteed result. And it doesn't mean a thicker lens. This is one of my barriers. I have a lot of work experience. These are some of my business cards. I saved them and I scanned them. So I think actually I have a thicker lens because of it. So sometimes you assume that you know more because you've been around longer or you've done more things. I want you to take off your lens. Think about changing lenses. Set the lens aside when you're assessing an idea. Don't always filter your learning through the same lens, because then you can believe in impossible things, right? Because kids believe in impossible things. This is Sam. He set aside his reason and logic. This is another photo that I found on the iPhone. Actually, his friend Nathan sent this to me. I apologize. I didn't ask how he got up there. Finally, change your mind. This is about belief systems. Kids, you don't have to convince them about things. They believe. And when they believe, it becomes true. Adults, we doubt. We're always looking for truth. We look for evidence to support it before we believe it. And with enough evidence, it becomes a truth. So we hold on to those truths through our lives, and we apply that lens when we're making decisions. Sometimes, though, they become barriers, and they handicap us. It didn't work before, so why would it work again? Oh, that'll never happen. We make assumptions about other people before something actually has occurred. We've lived it in our head. Or, oh, that's to this because they're conservative. Or they'll want this because they're like that. We put labels on other people. Those beliefs hold us back, I think. So I'm suggesting force quit, because become conscious that you're using those beliefs maybe, and just reboot. Here's another thought. Become a trainee, not an expert. Learn. Be open to learning. This is my trainee cap. I actually have this. This is my soccer dad cap. I got this at a leadership camp in New York, just outside of New York. It was a military boot camp. It was for 5 days, and you show up there and you get put through military drills. All the exercises, all the things that you do take you out of your comfort zone. So it was about leadership. It wasn't about play, but I think it's still relevant because there was 200 participants. We were split up into squadrons, and over the period of the 5 days, we changed a lot of things a lot of long-held beliefs. And the biggest takeaway for me was that it wasn't the experience of everybody that made them the leader, because in our squadron of 8, there were doctors, chiropractors, there was a 17-year-old student. With each of our backgrounds, we each brought something different to the table, and it wasn't the age or the experience that they brought, because we were all at the same place when we started there. We were all trainees. And I got the actual cap that you get when you finish the boot camp, but this is more precious to me because it reminds me to always be a trainee. I think just always don't assume that your expertise will give you the answers. So that was about changing my mind. I have an example about changing other people's minds, and this is actually something that is relevant for the place that we're in, Art on the Block. We had the privilege of working with them for the last couple of years. 2 years ago, we worked on this campaign to increase the attendance and to just diversify the audience for Art on the Block. It's their largest fundraiser. It happens usually in May every year. But over the years, what happened is there was an assumption or a perception from people that this the event was a little bit tired, and tickets had flatlined a little bit because the event was becoming known for expensive art, or that, oh, it's the same people that attend. So what could we do about that? Well, we worked with them to come up with a concept that was high-low, because you can get an awesome, you can get awesome artwork that isn't super high expensive. It's however much you want to bid. It's a fundraiser, of course, but you're not going to just get $5,000 paintings. And the crowd isn't just the same old crowd. The crowd is diverse, and it's a fun event. So we use this creative platform, just the right amount of hoity-toity, to play off of the theme of high-low. And we worked with an illustrator to create visuals that depicted contrasts of high-low. So here we have a socialite with a bid paddle bidding against a hipster. You'd expect the socialite to be saying she's getting an investment and the hipster is getting a steal, but we've twisted it around. These are 3 posters. The middle one speaks to the social mixer, and the other one speaks to the event and people. So, you know, great art, fantastic event with lots of cool people and drinks. It's a fun time. This is a direct mailer that was sent out with paddles, and they flipped around high and higher for bids. Here's an example of something that we did in some of the local lounges and restaurants. This is shot at Zinc. They're coasters with sayings. Can you read that, actually? It says, "Don't be afraid to loosen your ascot." The other 2 say it's acceptable to chug your champagne. Or, "Mind your bids, not your manners." It's a little bit of attitude there. That was lots of fun to work on, and I think the attendance didn't reach the goal, but we raised the awareness, and we took it up to almost their goal of 500. The attendance, the tickets were, the sales went really well. So I just want to recap, ditch the rule book and get out of your comfort zone. Be unrealistic and believe in impossible things, and change your mind, become a trainee, not an expert. I want to wrap up by sharing something that we do at DDB. We have a fundraising, creativity event for our staff, and it's held every year in November. We've done it for 2 years in a row. All staff members are invited to create something, and we sell it in a silent auction and give it to a charity. Our charity of choice is the Hope Mission. We've held them the last couple of years at the Art Gallery right here. And so we invite all our clients, and all our staff produce a piece that they put up for sale. So this is how we play at DDB. Here, for example, is a portrait of Michael Jackson, made it from Rubik's Cubes. We also have, for example, there's boxing lessons, there's a liquor cabinet, we have a knit shawl, you see an example of a beautiful painting. We also had quilts, custom furniture, more paintings, there homemade pierogies, and even a personal shopping consultation. And this is mine. This is a box of honesty. I didn't realize this, but I think this is really influenced by Tibor, because he used to produce pieces that he sent out to his clients. I was looking through a book that I have of him, and I realized that, oh, I'm quite subtly influenced by him. But this box of honesty was fun to do, and what you got from it was, I would take you out, and you would have 5 sessions, and what I have in each of the tiers in the box is there's a pistol. So I went to the vintage, an antique mart, and bought a pistol, and that's brutal honesty. So you get a session with me on brutal honesty. I would take you for coffee or drink, and you can ask me anything, and I will tell you the unvarnished truth. I would give you my opinion. There was white lie honesty. There was drunken honesty. You drink, I can talk to you, right? And so this box was auctioned off, and Marlene, who bought this box, has only taken me up 3 times on it. I'm going to end by showing you the direct mail piece, or the invitation that we sent out to our clients. And I think it nicely sums up the spirit of play.
I think we should split in half. Okay. Really bad. Take the crap. Do you want some?
Thank you.